Yeah, real LOA is more holistic. And it's all this other stuff that Marvin and I are talking about, including the reason we love David Hawkins, which is letting go the way that David Hawkins describes it. That's shadow work, inner work, whatever term you want to use, self-concept work. If you really want to do self-concept work and inner work, the letting go process that David Hawkins describes particularly well in the first two chapters of Letting Go is going to help you much more long term in all likelihood than doing something like SATs. Because, Neville, as great as he was, said, my techniques are figurative. Okay, they're to get me to this place where I can change my self concept. But what Neville was really interested in was changing his self concept and helping people change their self concept. That's deeper imaginative work than just doing SATs for everything. SATs or the lullaby method, affirmations of any type can help you do that, but they are a tool to get you something in the 3D, generally speaking, and they're not the actual profound interchange that Neville was pointing at, and that, in my opinion, someone like Hawkins will help you actually do more to become more accepting of who you are and more loving of who you are and more able to let go of the resistance to having feelings like fear, shame, etc., and to move up that map figuratively so you get to a more loving wonderful place. But Marv, I just want to spend a minute here because this has been on my mind a little bit. We hear all the time in the LOA space. This is partially because I've been back on Reddit and read some of my comments um, of people like, but this does work. Like, but you can just do SATs and change your life. You can just do robotic affirmations. And as we always talk about, there's a little bit of nuance to this stuff, but that's the thing. These people are right. It can work. Here's the difference. Just because it can work doesn't mean it's going to motherfucking work for you. It's probably not. Be fucking smart. Okay? A lot of shit can work. It can work. There's a 0.1% chance of it working, right? I would rather have an 80 or 90% chance of it working than the 0.1 fucking percent. It's false equivalence to say something can work versus something probably will work. Like if you work with Marvin and I, we will improve your fucking self concept. You will be able to attract a great person into your life. And if for some reason you can't, you will have an improved enough self concept that you really will not care that much. That will fucking happen. That not can happen, that will fucking happen. Okay, that's very different than like, oh, I can just do SATs to change my life. Sure, that can happen, but it probably fucking won't. When you do real work like we're talking about, it will happen. Huge distinction. So I thought that rant was necessary because people don't get that. And I'm sick of reading these dumb Reddit and YouTube comments of people who are just ignorant. Don't be stupid. Use common sense. You're wise enough to use common sense and to be a good person.
Nah, that was a great soliloquy, man. It's this LOA stuff is it just hurts that so many people are lost and so many people they're just waiting. They're just sitting around waiting when they could be doing or they could be resolving themselves. And again, this stuff is nuanced. There is a time and a place where you should be waiting, but there's a time and place where you shouldn't be waiting.
Can I say too, because we're talking about Hawkins, waiting, if you wait and let go the way David Hawkins talks about in chapter 2 of his book, Letting Go, that's going to fucking help you. If you're waiting, don't wait being stupid. Wait that way. Then you're not actually waiting, you're doing something. I'm getting pissed, Marv.
Huge distinction. Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's as Tim says in his one of his videos, as I've said maybe once or twice, Neville wasn't an SP teacher in my opinion. And there's so much more better SP advice than using SATs and all that type of stuff. There's just so much more better advice. And the success stories are loud, right? But you don't hear about the failures. And the failures are a lot. A lot.
Easily 10 times, if not 100 times, the amount of success stories are the failures.
But nobody talks about the failures. It's no different than life. People don't talk about their failures when they become successful. All these guys that become millionaires, billionaires, you don't hear about all the struggles. You don't hear about all the times that they lost. All you hear about is their wins. That's what you hear about. That's what's plastered all over the news. That's what's plastered over social media. Is that stuff. But the losses, and this is what Tim and I are trying to project, because I think a lot of coaches in general, and I think people in general, I think they're afraid. It's taboo to talk about failure in this community.
Failure and fear.
Yeah, people don't want to talk about failure and fear in this community. They want to talk like it's a 100% success rate for this stuff working, and
If
that
you
you
if you do it right, it's going to work. Again,
right.
if and they make it sound like doing it right is easy. Like you go to the market and shop for a recipe and that's it. Couldn't it be further from the fucking truth? Oof. Awful advice. A lot of these coaches mean well. Normal disclaimer. Just don't trust them.
Yeah, I mean, we just the other day, we talked to somebody who had talked to a few different coaches, and they all
I got
basically.
I got a video. Actually, by the time this comes out, the video will probably be out. I went into more detail about that because
Oh,
it's
you did?
wild.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm not even going to talk about it, guys. Go watch Tim's video when Tim drops that. I'm not even going to bring it up, but yeah, man. Bottom line, if you want real SP advice, if you want to know how to really navigate relationships, keep relationships, how to deal with stuff when stuff gets hard in relationships, or while you're single, or trying to get somebody back, whatever the category is, this Hawkins map can potentially help you. Working with people like Tim and I can help you, because we can help you feel through it, do somatic work, all of that type of stuff, and help you get real results that feel productive. Because a lot of times doing affirmations for a lot of people and that type of stuff doesn't feel productive to people, but they keep doing it anyway because you just got to persist, as
Just
they
gotta
say.
persist. Gotta persist. You
So,
you do have to persist in the sense that you got to keep living, and you shouldn't persist with bad advice. If it's broke, fix it.
if it ain't broke, then don't fix it.
Right.